Hi everyone, just wanted to provide a quick status check for this last week of our class. I'm going to apologize in advance. This is probably going to be um, even more brief than last week. I had some surgery done on my face and it's hard to move my mouth. So I wish it was something cool and cosmetic to make me look better, but sadly no. So I just want to go over a few things from last week to wrap up the term. Or a few things overall to wrap up the term. So last week we talked a little bit about EMTALA. We took a look at this drugging dementia investigation, which is a horrible and sad one. And then you did have your final project submission as well. So I didn't really get a lot of feedback that there were any issues, so hopefully that all went well. Um, this week, very little activity because it is a short week. It does end on Friday, our 11:59 RMU time. But we do have a Flipgrid discussion about the Marchand Demure case, and then we do have a quiz as well. There is an optional discussion board where you can provide us with thoughts on what you liked, what you didn't like, ways to improve, etc. And we really do appreciate when you provide that info to us. I use it every term to go back and make updates for the next time that I offer the class. So if you could do that for us, that would be great. You will also, I'm sure you probably already have, receive um, a survey, sorry, uh, from RMU directly, and we obviously also appreciate if you can fill that out as well. That helps me to improve more as a faculty member and is important to us from a annual review standpoint, etc. So please, if you could take the time to do that as well, that would be fabulous. So go over just everyone did really well in the quiz last week. There were only a couple of questions that were missed, so I'll just go over them quickly. Medication errors can be decreased by lots of different answers here, but writing abbreviations according to hospital policy is one that can really help. The other one that was chosen, it was just because folks read it quickly. Ensuring handwriting is illegible. We would never want handwriting to be illegible. We want it to be legible. So I'm sure that was just folks that looked quickly and didn't saw legible instead of illegible. But most hospitals have a policy regarding abbreviations for exactly what type of different like milligrams and cc's and whatnot need to be noted a specific way in the documents. And then also abbreviations for drug names, etc. So they do have policies, and those do need to be followed. Um, Healthcare organizations are expected to provide patients with diets that, and then obviously lots of different options. I think the one that was most frequently chosen was meet their individual requests. Sadly, that's not the case when you're in the hospital in most cases. The one that is the correct answer is are prescribed, accurate, and monitored based on needs. Most facilities will try to meet people's requests if they can, but a good example is my father-in-law. He's currently in a nursing facility, and he has scammed one of the orderlies into, or aides or whatever they're called nowadays, into bringing him Wise potato chips pretty regularly. But generally, his demand for ice cream and pie and cake and potato chips at every meal is not met, and that's appropriate because he does not need to eat that. He's in his mid 80s, and um, that's certainly not things that need to be in his diet in excess every day. A little, some here and there is not a bad thing. We all get to indulge, but to meet his request, he'd have it every day. So important element there. They try and meet requests, and often will if they can, but it's not something that they will do every single day. A physician is, lots of words here that I'm going to avoid reading because my mouth really hurts, but negligent if his or her treatment is not performed as required by the recognized standard of care. So I think that the other one that was chosen was this one, negligent by the fact that an adverse result occurred. That's not necessarily the case. Like, for example, I had some bone grafting done in my face. So if perchance the bone grafting doesn't take, that's an adverse result for sure, but it's not the fault of the physician, likely. It might be, but it could also be just something that happens, or it could be the fault of something I'm doing, like recording videos the day after I had the surgery or whatever. Um, so it's certainly not, adverse results occur. That we all know that. But if they're not performing the recognized standard of care, if they're not meeting that level, like for example, with this bone graft I had to have, they had to put this collagen around it to keep it safe. And had they not done that, that could have been, negligence if the bone graft ultimately failed. So all important things to keep in mind, but not everyone that has an adverse result has that from negligence. Sometimes it's just simply the way it is, and sometimes it is because of something that the patient has done inappropriately in their recovery. So this week, obviously, we already talked about what we have. If you have any questions on anything, please feel free to reach out. Classes end Friday. New classes begin on Saturday morning. So if you have classes for the second half, they will begin Saturday morning, and the classroom should be open for you. Um, and that's all I've got, I guess. So it's been a pleasure working with everyone this term. Hopefully, you learned a few things about law, a few things about ethics, gave you some stuff to think about in the industry. And if there's ever, hopefully, I'll see you again in another class because I do teach quite a few here. But if not, if there's anything I can ever do for you, please just reach out. And I look forward to running into everyone again. Best wishes on your other classes this term and on your work going forward. Thanks.